People have to like you. The people have to like you. That's it. So let's go right ahead and get to it. I'm trying not to make this too long. I'm trying to get it straight to the point. A few months ago, I attended a program named Repair, which means Rebuilding Peace Through Actions with Inclusive Reach, organized by the Network of Solidarity, Empowerment and Transformation for All, NewsSeta. That program lasted for 5 months, including 2 training events, during which we were awarded the certificate of Youth Peace Envoys, making us just 40 in Cameroon and probably the whole of Africa. And one interesting thing that happened during that program is that I decided to run for the president of the cohort. Now, what that means is, if you do not understand the scope of responsibility that I was intentionally deciding to take on, you might want to lay back and let me explain a little bit. So there were individuals from all walks of life, leaders from all sectors of life, professionals, and up to the level of PhD holders who were attending the cohort and who were all seated together under one roof, receiving the same training as I was doing. And I mean, that pales in comparison to almost every other thing. And me, small me, deciding to want to take on the responsibility to lead that particular cohort was, I would say, that was one of the best decisions that I made at the beginning of the second half of this year. So when I took that particular decision, I ran for presidency, and after the presidential debate and the elections, fortunately I lost. Why do I say fortunately? Because during that particular debate, I learned 3 things that I'm going to share with you in today's video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Titus AB, and over here I talk about personal development, adventure, and of course leadership. And today we're going to look at 3 things that I learned about leadership after running for a leadership role and failing. According to me, a leader is someone who influences people to take positive actions, which produces a positive result on their lives and influences other people to equally take positive actions. That's who a leader is to me. Of course, there are many definitions, but that is the one that I wish to extract from and use in this case. And so leadership is something that I've decided to embark on for about the past 2 years right now. And although I'm still new in the field, I am trying to learn as much as I possibly can so that I share with you and so that I apply it to other areas of my life, because leadership is not necessarily meant only for leaders, as in those who are assuming roles of responsibility, but I think that leadership is something that is interdisciplinary and transcends to all fields, including yours and mine. And today I'm going to share 3 lessons that I learned while running for a leadership role. Now, the first is one of the most common. Maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't. People only care how much you know when they know how much you care. Now, this is particularly very important in leadership, because you are not leading, should I say, machines, right? You're not leading inanimate objects. You're not leading, should I say, devices or computerized systems. You're not particularly leading those. You're leading people. And that's one of the interesting things about leading people, is that you have to create relationships with these people. You have to create a relationship where you actually care how much they are, or you care about them. So they need to know how much you care about them as an individual. And this one particular thing that I feel in, it's one thing that I'm really working on in creating relationships with the people that I lead, or the people that I want to lead, right? In order to be able to be an efficient leader, in order to be able to be given a role of responsibility, in order to have people choose you as their leader for a particular task or a particular role, you have to have created a relationship with these people. Of course, there are different there are exceptions where people do not actually have a relationship with the subordinates, or should I say with those that they are leading, but are leaders anyway, and discover that most of these people have a very difficult term in office or not a very long term in office. So in order to be an effective leader, one thing that I should have done, which I didn't do, was to create effective and powerful relationships with the people that I intended to lead. And now let me put this in a more mellow and a more subtle way. People have to like you. The people have to like you. That's it. That's one of the most important things in leadership. People have to like you. Now that takes us to the second thing that I learned after running for presidency and failing, and it was that your vision has to be inclusive as a leader. Now, what do I mean by inclusivity? Inclusivity is generally a term used to refer to scenarios where almost everybody, if not everybody, in a particular scope or in a particular sphere is involved in the execution of affairs, right? So every single person needs to be involved. Every single person has to find the place where they fit themselves in your vision. What is your vision? Let's say your vision is to build a system, right? Now, how does each and every person fit in that system? Is everybody able to find their specific roles and fit themselves and play the duty that they're supposed to play? If each and every person, or at least 90% of the people that you're leading, find their roles and their places within that system, then there's a high chance that you're going to be taken to lead them. there's a high chance that they're going to elect you or they're going to vote you to lead them, because they all see themselves playing an important part. And now there might be a problem, or there might be a dichotomy in this, because sometimes you have a part that everybody is going to play, but you fail to communicate it properly. And that's one thing that really brings everything down. Communication. You have to be able to find a way to communicate to every person, making them understand that they all have a part to play, making them understand that no matter their skill sets or their abilities, they can all contribute positively towards the achievement of that vision. And so one thing that I failed to do was to communicate properly that every single person had a place within that vision. Of course, everybody had a place within the vision that I suggested or within the vision that I came up with, but I failed to communicate that properly, right? And so as a leader, one thing you're supposed to understand is that you have to communicate properly that every single person has a role within that vision, meaning that the vision is supposed to be inclusive. The vision is supposed to be inclusive. Now, I'm sure we have heard this over and over, but I'm going to remind you again. One thing that I learned after failing to get into the presidential office was that teamwork makes the dream work. If I didn't mention earlier, one thing that I decided to do while going in for these presidential elections is that I decided to run as an independent candidate. And what that means was that I had no political party, or I had no party, I had nobody who was maybe trying to raise awareness about the vision that I had and how inclusive it was for everybody. I had no team to work with. I had no other person to help me on this thing, except one person who eventually gained interest and pushed me a lot during. Thank you so much, Kingsley. If you're watching this video right now, Kongmo Kingsley, shout out to you. You did a great job in supporting me and helping me towards and generally boosting my morale towards taking that particular challenge. I think a great chunk of my courage came from your support. Thank you so much. And so yes, I didn't have a team, but I had one person. Although two people could be a team, but I failed to create a structure, a party under which different people could align and perform different roles. And I believe that if I had created that structure, if I had created that party as we call it, I would have been able to make it easier into the office. So it would have been a lot easier for me to get into the office. And that's one thing that we fail in so many areas today. Usually I consider myself as a one-man army, right? I've been able to do a lot as an individual, not saying that I've done anything, not trying to brag. But I believe that I've gotten to an extent where I need to actually get a team. And this is where all of us fail sometimes. We become so egotistical so that we think that we can all do it on our own. We can all make it to the top by ourselves. But in most cases, it's not true. Two heads are better than one. One of us might know a lot, but all of us definitely know more than one of us, right? So I might know too much, or I might know a lot, but all of us definitely know more than how much I do know as an individual. So teamwork is very important and it's very essential in making a dream work. That is why most great companies today, or most big companies today, before they employ you or before you even drop your resume, you're supposed to include a part that analyzes how well you perform in teams, or in what teams you've performed in before, or how good your team is, or something like that. And so they always try to assess the team part of doing the work. And this is one thing that I've equally learned from one of my mentors. He always mentions that no matter what I'm doing, I should get a team. Because a team brings ideas together. The team helps in the execution of those ideas better, and as well as in the delivery of the vision or the product or the service or whatever comes out of that particular process. And so teamwork makes the dream work. So I'm going to give a brief recap of the 3 things that I learned after running for presidency and failing. And the first thing is that people only care how much you know when they know how much you care, and that one is very important and unshakable. The second thing is your vision has to be inclusive, and you have to communicate it properly to everybody, making them understand that it's inclusive. The third thing is that teamwork makes the dream work. You might have known a little bit of all of these, or you might have known all of these, but I'm sure me explaining it right now in this particular context gives a better, broader, and more honed perspective of the knowledge that you had. If this is your first time on the channel and you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure to leave a comment to let me know what you think about the content or about this particular video, and what kind of videos that you'd like to see me create in the future. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button to join the family, and hit the post notification button to make sure that each time I upload a video you get notified and you hop on the track and watch the video together. In the meantime, stay good.